Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Agency and Freelancer Academy webinar series. Today is chapter 13, and today we're going to be talking about 5 key marketing trends that you just cannot afford to miss moving into 2019. Now, before we start today's webinar, I just want to say welcome to everyone who is here for the first time. It is great to see you here, and anyone who is returning, who has viewed these webinars before, who has been with us from the start. I appreciate all of you, and yeah, thanks for being here. Now, this week's webinar is slightly different from usual, and the reason behind that is because we are not live this week. Every single webinar in this series has been live so far, apart from this week's and last week's, and that is just due to the fact that unfortunately, I am away offline without any internet access for around about 10 days. So we wanted to make sure that we didn't interrupt the schedule and we still provided you with a ton of useful information and value. So the only difference is the webinar will be a little bit shorter than usual, and there will not be the opportunity for any question and answers or live chat. I usually make these webinars super engaging. So if you are new around here, please make sure after you've watched this one, you join next week's webinar, because next week we will be back, normal service resumed, and we'll be back live as usual. So that's that out of the way. Thanks for being here, and I hope you are going to enjoy today's episode, 5 key marketing trends you simply can't afford to miss in 2019. So here's what we're going to be covering today. Just 2 key areas. We'll be saying why we need to keep on top of trends, and then right here on the screen it says 8 key trends for 2019 and how you can utilize them. I've realized that is a typo. That should say 5 key trends for 2019 and how you can utilize them. So that's it. Today will be fairly short, fairly snappy, but extremely value driven, and hopefully there'll be a ton of stuff in here that you can go away and implement to help grow your agency business moving into 2019. So a little bit about myself for anyone who is joining one of these webinars for the first time. My name is Dylan Hay. I am just like a lot of you. I'm also a digital marketing agency owner. So I set up my own marketing agency in May of this year, of 2018. And before that, I've worked for a number of fairly interesting and cool companies, one of those being Hootsuite, the kind of big competitor of Promo Republic, if you want to call them that. Hootsuite were a huge company when I was there. Worked at Hootsuite, worked for some cool, fast-growing startups such as Leadfeeder and a number of others. And now I lead my own digital marketing agency, focusing on helping SaaS and software businesses with their marketing. I'm the host of a top 15 iTunes podcast that's called the Social Media Growth Show. Now, that one has been a little bit on pause recently. We haven't released an episode in a little while just because we're currently rebranding that podcast. But that's ranked as high as number 11 in the iTunes charts, where we focus on providing the audience with as much value as possible around social media growth and interview some incredible kind of founders, leaders, etc. And as it says here, my work's been picked up by a number of cool key sites. But that is enough about me. I'm not here to kind of tell you all about myself. I just wanted to introduce myself for anyone who is new and just let you know that I am leading this agency and freelancer academy with Promo Republic, but I don't work for Promo Republic, if you want to look at it that way. I am supporting them on this, and the reason behind that is because they have recently launched their agency solution, specifically a specific version of the product for agency owners, which is absolutely incredible. And they're also investing a lot of time and a lot of money into helping people just like you grow their agency businesses with a ton of free education. And that is what this webinar is part of the Agency and Freelancer Academy. So if you haven't checked out the other content, please do that. We have, before this webinar, there are another 12 webinars. We have a number of blog posts, guides, articles, etc. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. And if at any point during this, you would like to find out a bit more about the Promo Republic agency solution, or you have any questions, I will remind you about that later, but somewhere on this page, around this video, around this webinar, there should be a button that you can press where you can book onto a very quick 15-minute call with somebody in the team at Promo Republic who will answer any questions that you have, show you the agency-specific solution, and give you some help and some support. So that's that out of the way. That's enough about me. Let's get straight into today's webinar. So to begin with, why do we need to keep on top of key trends? Why am I doing a whole webinar about key trends? Why, as an agency owner, should you even care about key trends within marketing itself? And this is exactly why. So to stay ahead of the competition, deliver a better service, and ultimately generate more revenue in your pocket, you need to stay on top of industry trends. It's an absolute must. New marketing trends come to the surface year after year. And look, some of them stay and reshape the industry, and some of them fade away very quickly. And you have to make sure that you know how to distinguish them even. So on any trends that you hear about from myself or anyone else, it's always important that you do your own research, and when needed, you adapt. What I'm going to be showing you today is 5 key trends that I think, personally, will be extremely important next year. Some of these will become huge, and some of my predictions may be miles off. So, as I said, take everything that I say with a pinch of salt, as ultimately these are just predictions, but I'm leading with data that I've found and what I'm hearing from other marketers, etc. And as I said, the reason we want to talk about these trends is because you want to learn all about the latest trends. You want to provide a better service for your clients. And the way to provide a better service for your clients and to generate more revenue is by generating them better results, right? So if you're aware of key trends and what's going on in the industry, it will become easier for you to deliver that great service. And usually on these webinars, we have like a live chat box where I can ask you questions. And at this point, I would probably ask you, what do you think is going to be a huge trend for 2019? Unfortunately, I won't be able to see your answers, but I do still want to ask you that question, like maybe in your notepad or on your notes app on your phone or wherever it is that you're kind of following along to this. Maybe just write down a couple of things that you think will be big in 2019 within marketing, or key areas that you want to focus on to improve for your clients. Okay, let's get into things. My very first prediction number 1. Chatbots and messenger marketing. How many of you have used a chatbot for one of your clients, have created a chatbot for your client, or work on chatbots? I would assume the answer is probably not many. I would expect maybe like 1 or 2 people watching this webinar to work with chatbots, but hopefully I'm proven wrong, but I'm not too sure. I want to start by saying that if there's one thing that's always been true in business, it's that companies and people tend to gravitate towards the communication channels that consumers are already using. It just makes sense, right? When people were communicating through handwritten letters, direct mail was then born. When phones became super common, so did telemarketing companies. The rise of email then led to the rise of email marketing tools and email marketing software. So what about today? Well, I know today, that people communicate the most on messenger apps. So tools like Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, WeChat over in China is huge. And it's fair to say that the popularity of these messenger apps over the last few years has dramatically increased. And to be honest, it's just absolutely skyrocketed. The graph that you see on the screen here is showing you that now messaging apps, their daily active or monthly active users has overtaken the monthly active users of the top 4 social media networking tools or social networking tools. So the steepness of this curve should tell you something very clear and very important, and that is that messaging apps right now have huge appeal, and they're just simply too easy and intuitive not for people to use. This is a trend that's already started and is only going to increase moving into 2019. It will only get more popular. Now, I put some stats on the screen here for you. By 2020, 85% of customer interactions are predicted to be dealt with by chatbots. Just let that sink in for a second. 85% of interactions between customers and brands online are predicted to be dealt with by chatbots. So that is a crazy stat, and that means so many businesses right now that don't have chatbots built out are going to need them. So it's a huge revenue opportunity for you as well. By 2022, it's estimated that chatbots will save businesses over $8 billion per year. Now, I'm not sure exactly where those savings come from. I guess it's from less staff, from upsales, etc. There are a number of ways that chatbots can create revenue. And I also wanted to share a couple of recommended tools. So I've experimented a little bit with chatbots myself, and 2 great tools I found are ManyChat and ChatFuel. They basically help you build out chatbots for your clients. And I know for a fact that ManyChat also have, I believe it's a free like crash course on messenger marketing and chatbots too. Okay, so just having a swig of my water there, but that is key trend for 2019, number one, done. In terms of how you can implement this in your business, I really would say that I think you should be offering chatbots as a service to your clients, especially if you're running or you're doing services for B2C brands, for local businesses, restaurants, barbershops, anything like that. Most businesses can see the benefit from chatbots. The open rates, the click-through rates are way, way, way higher than email, and it's a great place to generate additional revenue for your clients too. So in terms of how you can implement this yourselves into your agency, I would recommend looking at offering a service of either building out or managing chatbots for your clients. It's something that can be learned fairly quickly. Of course, you want to put practice into it, but you could probably learn it quickly. Or there are a ton already of like specialist outsourcers and contractors that do this that you can utilize. So that's how I would kind of initiate this into my business, would be offering this as a service for our clients. Okay. So let's get on to number two. As I said, this webinar this week will be fairly to the point and quick, and we're going to get through this because I want to share these trends with you and let you go away and think about how you're going to implement them. So number two, video marketing. I know this isn't new. I know this isn't like a new trend, but this is something that is going to continue to become even more important moving into 2019. So video is still winning the race of the most successful medium of marketing in 2019, and that is definitely going to continue into 2019. And this makes sense, right? Because the average attention span of a consumer is short. Most people would much rather watch a video than read a long, in-depth blog post. Live video has actually been a large factor in marketing too, because it directly connects engaged consumers to products and services. So if you want to catch consumer attention, you'll most likely find them on social media. We know that because we run social media marketing agencies. But platforms like Facebook Live have given marketers and brands the opportunity to really be in the face and engage with their target market. Next year, I believe that live video feeds will continue to explode. But the most important aspect going forward will be originality, right? Interactive video and imaginative video marketing that encourages engagement will quickly outpace video for the sake of moving pictures, because consumers become bored quickly. Brands that use video to engage and excite users and customers will win. And what I mean by that is that just because video is popular, and we know that video is becoming more popular, you can't just add a load of pictures together, turn it into a video and expect it to do really well. As video becomes even more popular, only good video is going to stand out, right? You have to stand out from your competition, and content is absolutely key with this. I think the importance of video just cannot be understated. And according to a recent study that I found by HubSpot, they said that simply adding a video to an email boosts click-through rate by a staggering 200 to 300%, and putting one on a landing page increases conversion rate by up to 80%. So you have to make sure that you don't fall behind in the video arena. In almost every single area of marketing, it outperforms every other medium. I would recommend that you look at your business activities and work out the best way to generate video marketing and get video marketing incorporated into your strategy, because by 2021, it's expected that more than 80% of all internet traffic will be by video. So as I said, this isn't new. Video isn't new, but video marketing moving into 2019 is going to become even more key and even more important. So how you can implement this into your agency or your business is by focusing more on video in your content strategies that you're doing for your clients. And in terms of additional revenue, you can start to offer different video packages, maybe additional editing services, content creation, managing live shows and live streams. There are a ton of ways you can implement this into your pricing and your costings, but most importantly, you have to factor in video even more to your content marketing strategies that you're building out for all of your clients. So let's get into number 3. Stories. I think, and I know that stories on platforms like Facebook and Instagram will continue to rise, and you have to absolutely focus on this. Now, unfortunately, I can see that I have made a mistake on on this slide. So we have a couple of bullet points. These ones here: improve your project scoping and value your work. They should. Well, actually, all of these bullet points shouldn't be here. So that's my bad. I've included the wrong ones on this screen. So let's just move this picture right into the middle, and let me talk about stories with you. So Instagram, let's talk about Instagram stories specifically. Instagram is one of the most important and the most powerful marketing channels of our time. It is great for content marketing, it is great for paid advertising, and at the same time, it is great for content communication and customer service. It has the capacity to drive great engagement and better than average return on investment for every marketer, brand, or agency that's listening to this. Instagram has been growing significantly since it was first launched a couple of years ago, 8 years ago. And you can see from the graph that I'm sharing on the screen right now that the Facebook-owned photo and video sharing network reached a milestone of 1 billion active users in June this year, and that's only continuing. There are over 4 billion likes every single day shared on Instagram, and each image posted on the platform gets an average of 23% more engagement than its Facebook counterpart. Instagram stories have become one of the most important parts of the platform since its launch. And the reason behind that is because it's great for day-to-day users and perfect for advertisers as well that need to communicate straight to the heart messages to their audiences. So with things like Instagram story ads, you're actually able to insert your banners between the slides of other people's stories and do it really effectively, since this paid option allows for full screen banners. I've seen some great results from Instagram story ads for myself and for some of my clients too, but keep in mind that in order for your ads to convert and to give you a good ROI, they need to be top notch in terms of design, the look, the feel of the ads. They need to be really highly targeted and in line with exactly what your audience wants to see or hear or buy. I think looking to next year, we were going to see brands using, rather than just like simple Instagram stories content, they'll be focusing more towards engagement-based stories instead of just sharing promotional posts and ads. So I know I've focused quite a lot on Instagram story ads here on this slide, but Instagram stories in themselves becoming the go-to place. It's where most people spend their time on social right now, or more and more people are spending their time there. So they're going to continue to rise in popularity, and the way that you're going to stand out from everybody else is by really, really focusing on the content, utilizing the fact that you can use stories to drive engagement through polls and Q&As and using stickers on the stories, etc., location tags. I would really focus on this next year, and if you don't already, I would really, really focus on Instagram story advertising, because I know when I asked on a previous webinar, there were very, very few people that are running Instagram story ads right now. So the story platform is super important, and I really would recommend that you spend a bit more time focused on that. Okay, cool. So let's get into number 4. We have 2 more to go. I hope you're enjoying this so far. As I said, I wish I was live here with you. I wish I could answer questions. I wish we could engage. But because I'm not, I thought it'd be best to just fire through these, give you guys the value up front. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me via my email, and I'll get back to you when I am back. Or you can make sure you're here for next week's webinar, which will be completely live as well. So number 4. Now, this one is a little bit left field for me personally, because this is a prediction where I know it's going to be extremely popular, but I don't know a ton about it. So this is the one where, if you remember at the start of this webinar, I said, like, take everything I say with a pinch of salt, okay? But I know this is super important, and that is voice search. Voice search is on the rise. The advances made in the last few years in the fields of like natural language processing, conversation interfaces, automation, machine learning, all those buzzwords that you hear, they have enabled virtual assistants and voice tools to become increasingly intelligent and useful. And we've seen that almost 1/3 of the 3.5 billion searches performed on Google every single day are now voice searches. And 50% of all searches are expected to become voice searches by 2020. So voice search differs from the typical desktop or mobile search. When you open Google on your browser on your phone or on your computer and you type in your search query, you'll see hundreds of pages of search results, right? So it's not that hard to get on those pages of search results. But when you ask Siri a question or you ask your Google Assistant a question, it will just give you a couple of results, or more often than not, it will only give you one result. Imagine if your website is one of those results, or is that one result. The click-through rate will be much higher, But in order to get that click-through rate, it has to be there in the first place. And therefore, I think tailoring an SEO strategy towards voice search is going to be a big trend for 2019. So there are a few ways that you can do this from what I've read. People recommend that you make your search phrases more conversational and less like written terms. So often written searches are just keyword bundles, whereas you should start to consider what your customers might speak rather than what they might type when making a search and an inquiry. It also makes sense to start testing with some of your blog posts and writing them in a more conversational tone to develop content that better aligns with voice search. So I know that this is going to be a little harder to optimize for or for me to give you solid advice on, as I have zero experience with voice search. I just know that from the statistics that I'm sharing on the screen, it's going to become more and more important as marketers. And I think, just more and more important, right? And I think as marketers and agency owners, we need to be extremely conscious of that. So the stat here that 39 million Americans use their smart speakers already in their homes, that's only going to continue to increase. So as I said, this one, in terms of how you would implement it into your agency or into your business, I'm not entirely sure, apart from helping your customers become more focused towards conversational search terms when you're doing SEO for them, to try and get them being that search term that is selected when someone searches via voice. And also, quick question, I know you can't answer this, but how many of you are using voice search? Like, I use it all the time on my Google phone. I always just ask Google for whenever I have any questions. Okay, number 5. The fifth and final trend that I want to talk about is that content will still be king. Content is king, always has been king, and will still be king. And I know that content marketing is not a new concept at all, but right now it is more important than ever before. Content is the king, and it is increasingly working its way to the forefront of all digital strategies as it becomes a crucial element that reaps big rewards. Authenticity always wins, guys, okay? But in saying that, a one-size-fits-all approach will just not suffice when it comes to content marketing. Instead, we need to focus on creating unique, high-quality, and utterly authentic content that is both entertaining, useful, and interesting for our customers. And that's the only way that you're going to get the crown and going to stand out from the rest of the content that is out there. So from text, video, and imagery, to infographics, surveys, webinars, podcasts, whatever your preferred content medium is, you absolutely have to ensure that it's not only shareable, but it's relevant to your industry and it is authentic, because no one wants to share anything or engage with something that is not authentic, that's clearly promotional or is boring. Excuse me. I actually found a stat as well that said the majority of consumers, 86% of consumers, say that authenticity is an important factor when deciding which brands they support. And that number is even higher among millennials. So since people are starting to place more trust in, or have always placed more trust in humans than in brands, influencer marketing has been and still is trending. And we might buy in that, or we might kind of look at that when it comes to ads as well. But on the other hand, authentic content generated voluntarily by fellow consumers catches our eyes the quickest and the most easily. Now, I would say that something really important to think about here is, so user-generated content is really important. The best thing that we can possibly do to get authentic content is, rather than sharing about how great we are, how great our brand is to get other people, other consumers sharing that for us. And the way that you can do that is to make an effort to motivate your clients' customers to share their experiences with their brands, because that will definitely pay off. I read a stat that also said consumers are 3 times more likely to say that content created by a consumer is authentic compared to content created by a brand. So basically, content is so important. You can't just rely on social media ads, because if you see this other stat that I shared on the screen, actually 30% of all internet users will be using ad blockers in 2019, so they won't even see your ads. So the most important thing to focus on is content, and the only kind of content that's going to make you stand out from the crowd and be better than your competitors and improve your clients' marketing is through utilizing and sharing authentic content. And it's really, really, really important that you think about that. So again, this one isn't like a new growth hack or anything like that, but it's something that is becoming even more important as more and more people, more and more businesses, more and more people are spending time on social. Content is the most important thing. Now look, keeping on top of all of this stuff, all of these trends is going to take you a ton of time. And I know, being an agency owner myself, one of your biggest challenges is spending less time on tasks that aren't important. Well, not aren't important, because every task is important, but spending less time in your business, and instead you want to be working on your business. And to keep up with all of these trends, to keep up with everything in social media marketing, it can take you a lot of time to learn about it and then deliver on it. Luckily, Promo Republic, and specifically the Promo Republic agency solution, can help alleviate some of these problems that you face, such as client communication, client workflows, collaboration workflows, content ideas, content creation, content scheduling, social media reporting, ads, social media monitoring, etc. There are a number of ways that the Promo Republic agency solution can help you out with that. And I'm just going to share a few slides with you. So one of these ways is through the Post Ideas library. If any of you haven't used Promo Republic before and want to learn more about the agency solution, I really recommend checking out the button that is on the screen or on this page somewhere, where you can actually book onto a call with a member of the team who for 10-15 minutes will answer any questions that you have, show you through the specific agency version of the platform. But just to give you a glimpse inside, here are a few reasons why. So the Post Ideas library is amazing. My own agency, before I discovered Promo Republic, my social media manager was using Canva and Adobe Spark to create graphics and content. And he would have to come up with the ideas for all this content himself, which also takes time. But he would use those tools to create the content. He would then download it to his computer, go to Hootsuite, upload it to Hootsuite, and then schedule the content. Now, just from switching from that process to Promo Republic and him being able to create all of the graphics and all of the content within Promo Republic, and also have over 100,000 templates and ideas ready for him, not having to download them to his computer, just being able to schedule them straight away, saved him each client, it saved him up to 6 hours every single week. And imagine if your team could be saving 6 hours per client every single week. We also have this incredible graphics editor, which I touched on briefly, as well as the smart posting function. So Promo Republic will, of course, you can schedule a post to all of your platforms, but it will provide suggested times and suggested types of content that will automatically post out at the best times for you. And one of the greatest things that is only available on the agency platform is its collaboration platform. So in a recent survey, 86% of agency owners said that one of their biggest problems was effective client communication. Now, with the Promo Republic collaboration platform, you can schedule your posts, but they can be scheduled for approval with your clients. So your clients can have access to your dashboard, which can be fully white labeled. So no Promo Republic branding, no Promo Republic logos. It will have your own company's branding, your own logos, your own colors, your own domain, which first of all makes you look amazing too. That's another great benefit of the agency solution. But your client can have access to that. You can put all of your content calendar in there, all of your posts in there, and they can be scheduled for approval. So your client can come in and approve them, make some edits, make some suggestions, etc. And this will save you a ton of time with your client collaboration. I absolutely guarantee it. You can also manage multiple different clients. They can each have their own profiles within Promo Republic, so that's easy to switch between. You don't have a big mess on your screen. So these are 3 or 4 of the benefits. There are many, many more. But basically, it's a workflow that's designed to save you time, serve more clients, increase the efficiency of your agency, and ultimately make more money and more revenue through content creation, collaboration, and reporting. And compared to other social media solutions, the agency version of Promo Republic, this is how it stacks up against them completely honestly. It has some great features, some stuff that we're working on. The approval workflows will be awesome for you guys. The white label makes you look incredible. The content library of over 100,000 post ideas. No one else has anything like that. And we actually did a calculation for an average social media marketing agency. So someone that manages 30 social media accounts, has a team of 5, and has clients who would like access to a social media marketing tool, and they want approval workflow features, and they need to monitor mentions and hashtags for their clients, right? And that it appeared that from choosing the Promo Republic agency solution, due to the competitive pricing, the awesome feature set, they were actually Like that kind of company would save anywhere between $600 and $5,500 every single year. So Promo Republic is extremely well priced for the agency solution. It does have a great feature set, and I'm not just saying this because look, I used to work at Hootsuite. I love Hootsuite. I have some great friends there, and I love the brand. But for a social media marketing agency, I really genuinely believe that Promo Republic agency solution is the best solution available right now. If you have any questions about it, usually I would answer them live on the webinar. Unfortunately, today I can't do that. And that's why we have a button somewhere on this page that you can click to book onto a call with a member of the team for 10-15 minutes to answer any questions that you have, to show you around the solution. And more importantly, anyone that clicks on that link, anyone that comes from this webinar, we're keeping this very quiet, but we have a very special offer for all webinar visitors. The price that you see here says that the agency package starts from $99 a month. Now, for anyone that visits from this webinar, that books onto a call using the link on the page, someone in the team will extend a special discounted offer to you. So once again, I really recommend that. If you've made it to the end of this webinar, thank you, as always, for joining. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope it was useful. I cannot wait to be back and to be live with you next week at the same time. Looking forward to chatting with some new faces, the familiar faces too, and answering all of your questions. So once again, thank you for being here, and I will speak to you all next week.